And we're back. Happy Valentine's Day, y'all. If y'all are tuning in, it probably means you ain't got nothing else better to do. But we're glad you're here, and we're happy y'all are tuning in. Welcome to another episode of Black Friday, where these opinions are not for sale. Got you here with Christian, and we got Chris, and we're back, man. It's been
Good to be back,
man. Yeah, no, we're trying to get consistent here. 2 weeks in a row, feeling good. This is how we envision this to be consistent with doing this just about every week, sometimes even more times a week if we actually have the time. But life comes up, sometimes things happen. Just lucky to have time right now, so we're gonna make the most of it. So, man, just jumping right into it, man. The Super Bowl was yesterday, and I thought it was a pretty good game. I was on a plane when the game started, and I was able to get back to watch the end of the first half and all the second half, and I thought it was pretty good. And I mean, it was cool to see. I mean, I wanted the Bengals to do it with the young kid, but Matthew Stafford got one. Matthew Stafford got one. So
and that man deserved it. Somebody coming out of Detroit, he put up with us for quite a while, and he deserved to get a ring out of this. So proud of Matthew Stafford. It's a Super Bowl win for Detroit. We're claiming this one, the Detroit Rams. So and they're selling shirts like that in Detroit. If y'all ain't see it, they're selling those shirts.
Not.
Yes, they are. They're selling those shirts in Detroit. Detroit Rams, bro. We won our Super Bowl. We finally did it. We're taking credit. LA, you're trash. Detroit taking over the Rams. So thank you, Stafford. Glad you made it. We were all rooting for you.
I gotta look this up. Is that a thing?
That is definitely a thing. Detroit Rams. Honestly, it don't sound that bad. It don't sound that bad.
Oh my! It is real. That's hilarious.
I have to get me one.
No, I gotta pull this up. That's actually funny.
And they did it quick too.
Man, people do this with no turnaround time at all. It's not even hard. I mean, look at this. You literally got people t-shirts, hoodies, man. That's absolutely nuts. Yeah, you gave them Matthew Stafford, man. They won a Super Bowl, and they have no draft picks. Okay, people understand this, man. They're ruined in the draft for like almost the next decade. It looks like, because they traded for Jalen Ramsey, Matthew Stafford. They got Von Miller, and they made some big time moves. I mean,
it paid off.
I mean, that's the goal. I mean, if they didn't pull a Super Bowl this year, it kind of be like, all right, we just did all this stuff and imploded the organization to not win. So I'm happy that it was able to work out for them. And but yeah, no, it's really cool to see. I think it was a better Super Bowl. And here's a controversial topic, man, is the halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those of you watching here, what did y'all think of the halftime show? Be honest in the comments. What did y'all think? Because I'm going to tell you what I think. Chris is going to tell you what he thinks. And we're going to see how y'all feel. But honestly, that was the halftime show that I resonated with the most probably in the last, like 20 years or so. I mean, Bruno Mars was cool. Probably one of my other favorites that I ever saw there. But those big names there, when you see 50 Cent come out, you got Eminem, you got Mary J. Blige, you got Kendrick Lamar, you got Dr. Dre, you got Snoop Dogg. I mean, and they're dropping every absolute bangers. I mean, those are absolute hits right there. Stuff that we, heard all through our childhood, going up through high school, college. Like, those are timeless hits, even if they were in the 90s or 2000s, whatever. Like, everybody remembers those. And I thought it was pretty good, well put together performance. Like, it was pretty cool with all the effects and everything. 50 Cent coming in upside down was wild. And overall, I thought it was a pretty good hit. Looking through Twitter and some people on Facebook, not everybody seemed to enjoy it. I'm going to remind them these artists did not get paid to do this performance. You do not make money on a Super Bowl performance. It's totally free, or you even have to pay sometimes. In the future, I think they're going to start having to pay themselves. I think it was pretty good. I think it was well put together. Some people were saying it was like really obscene, da-da-da. I didn't think it was that bad. Nothing like it was with the Shakira show a few years ago, and their shit like dancing on poles and going crazy and shaking everything. I don't think it was like that. But yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think about it. I thought it was pretty decent. Something good for one time rather than like Lady Gaga or some nonsense that nobody cares about. So I thought it was solid. What do you think, Chris?
Honestly, I can't agree more. I thought it was a really good halftime show. I thought it was the artists were extremely talented. They did a great job, and they did the songs that people wanted them to do. At least I thought so. I thought they hit the classics that people wanted to hear. I thought the 50 Cent surprise was great. I thought Kendrick Lamar was probably the best segment of that. I thought his segment was just amazing. The choreography, everything he did was just really, really great. I had a great time, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a highlight of the Super Bowl because it just seemed to go pretty quickly, the whole Super Bowl. So I thought it was a great time. And people who don't like it, do you not like it because of the music? Because I thought it was fine. I mean, even if you don't like that kind of music, that's completely fine. That's a legitimate criticism. I don't like rap. Okay, that's fine. But I don't honestly see any other criticism other than if you just didn't like the kind of music. I thought they did it a very clean show for, I mean, this day and age. I didn't see any issues or anything like that. I just thought it was a great show, and I thought people really enjoyed it. And from what I hear, a lot of people really enjoyed the show and had a good time.
Yeah, it's really seemed like it was something a lot of people like because people were talking about it. People were really genuinely talking about like how like much they enjoyed it. You never really see that with halftime shows unless people really hate it. Then they will let you know how much they hated the show. If it's bad, people will tell you that they bombed and it was terrible. Everybody knew the Black Eyed Peas did terrible because that's all anybody wanted to talk about after Black Eyed Peas did the Super Bowl years ago. So I think, yeah, it was absolutely crushed. I think they knocked it out. It was pretty good. Uh, and no, I mean that's one thing I think NFL's got right for once in their life is putting on the right people, which is cool.
And having it was a great lineup, and everybody kind of complimented one another. It didn't seem like a lineup that didn't make sense. I thought that they did great with this lineup, and I think that all the artists came out and hit it hard, and no incidents. It was a great time, great show, great Super Bowl overall.
Pretty put together. Really nice to see everybody was in the house, every single celebrity and every single politician that advocates for keeping your kids in masks that won't wear one themselves. So it was really nice to see. So if LA is in a state of emergency with 70,000 people indoors without masks on, I think the rest of the state of California can go back to living their life. I think they can at least. They should be
Yeah,
able to.
honestly, I'm just worried about Mayor Garcetti. I mean, it was like a 4-hour performance, and he was holding his breath the entire time. And I'm kind of concerned all the brain cells he lost. Probably a lot. I mean, he is the mayor of LA, so he's probably going to fit in even more in that city. Just saying. So I just, yeah, it's ridiculous. All the mask mandates, all the fact that kids now on Monday are going to have to go back to school, go back in masks, and sit inside 8 hours a day in Southern California, when 70,000 rich people, wealthy people, celebrities get together maskless for hours and hours. So it's unfortunate, and another reason to hate California. Sorry, Christian, I know you're from there.
Uh, the leadership's terrible. There are some good people there. A lot of weirdos there too, though. So that is a factor as well. A lot of
Yeah.
oddballs, not gonna lie. But it was home at one point. It was,
Well,
but
hopefully they change it up over there because it's wild out there.
it's pretty lame, honestly. Go home and everybody's just afraid to live. It's really disappointing.
They don't want
God.
to give hugs. They just want to stand 6 feet apart, masks on, triple vaxxed. It's like people like, can we get over? Like, I'm not saying like COVID is like 100% and over or like it was never a real disease. No, but like, are we going to be in fear for the rest of our lives? Because that's not how I want to live my life. I want to enjoy myself. I want to go on vacations. I want to see family. I want to celebrate holidays. I don't want to have to always be fearful that I'm going to die, because I'm going to die. We're all going to die eventually. If it's from COVID, it's from COVID.
Yeah.
Like, people need to get past this fear mongering and living their life in fear and thinking that they're going to die if grandpa comes and gives you a kiss on Christmas.
Yeah, no, all these people that are afraid of dying too. I'm just confused. A lot of them are like, like people that are older and everything, and they're really worried. I'm like, stay home if that's the case. Also, get right with God before this goes, man. If you're really that afraid to die, man, you better get right.
Mm.
If you're afraid of this virus more than God Himself, man, you got issues bigger than you think. So
Mhm.
that's my thing is you better get right here before it is too late. You're too worried about dying that you're not even going to live. Live right. I mean, come on, sheesh, people, get it together.
I know it's time. It's time to put this COVID thing back burner, guys.
Put it
Let's
down.
let's go back to living free. I mean, people used to be able to, like, I don't know, like, you, if somebody was sick, they'd just go home and stay home for the day. Now you have to get tested to tell if you're sick. It's ridiculous. None of the science even makes sense anymore. Let's just live our lives, guys.
Science, man, this thing's gonna get flagged so hard. Now I think about it.
Oh man, come at us, YouTube. I'm ready
Yeah,
for it.
we're gonna get flagged so hard.
You know what? I'll say it. I'll hurt their feelings. Dr. Fauci isn't the science. I just said it.
No, he is not. Not so. In the news, I don't know if you guys heard this or not. Former Dolphins coach Brian Flores is suing the NFL and 3 teams as he's accused them of racism in their hiring practices. The Dolphins, Broncos, and Giants. He alleged that there was discrimination regarding his interview processes with those 3 teams and with those 2 teams, and then his firing last month in Miami. He filed a 58-page lawsuit and is seeking class action status with it. This guy's out for the bag. He is trying to collect that check. He is going to get it. He has alleged in the past that the Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, attempted to incentivize him to tank. For those of you that don't know what tanking means or entails, that's literally making your team lose on purpose in order to get a higher draft pick and better draft status throughout. And he alleges that they offered him $100,000 for every loss that he had in that season. And so they won 2 games or so in that season. And so, it just you do the work here. I mean, you're going to get a pretty high draft pick with 2 wins. You really look bad. So, that's one of the allegations here, which is bad. Okay, that's a bad for the integrity of the game on multiple levels. One, the integrity of the game's gone. If you're literally paying teams to lose on purpose, that's really, really bad. Especially because you have a fan base that really wants you to win. The whole city depends on it, revenue, income, everything. Like a lot of stuff's dependent on how well you guys do. It really is. 2 is sports betting, whether or not you believe it or think it's right. Doing those things definitely impacts and messes up sports betting numbers on spread, the money line, and everything else. If the team's literally going out there to lose, and you think that they're playing a game they could win, and you bet you're losing money just because they're taking it on purpose, they're point shaving, they're doing whatever. It's highly immoral practices. It's not good. Okay, let's see. Yeah, he got fired this season, even though the Dolphins went 9-8 this year. They had a winning record. First back-to-back winning seasons since 2003 for them. And so, and after he had gotten fired, he had some interviews in the offseason. So he had interviews from the New York Giants and the Denver Broncos, and he's alleged that the Giants interviewed him last month for their head coaching job for no other reason than to compliance with the NFL's Rooney Rule, which is a rule, basically it's affirmative action in the NFL that requires teams to interview minority candidates for their open positions. And now the league has amended the rule in recent years, now saying teams have to hold in-person interviews with at least one external minority candidate for any GM or head coaching opening. That's the front office, people that make the overall decisions with personnel, salary cap, etc. And so he spoke with them via Zoom back in January. And, and then he got a finalized interview after that for in-person. And so he set to go to the interview and everything. He went out there, and like a few hours later, after getting confirmation of his interview, he apparently received a series of text messages from Bill Belichick himself, the Patriots coach, and said that, like he heard that, like he's their guy, that he's going to get hired, etc. And then it must have been an accident because Bill Belichick texted the wrong guy. The other guy that was going for the job was Brian Dabble. And it looks like he meant to send it to Brian Dabble. So, the plot thickens here is that apparently the Giants had selected their guy ahead already of even giving him the interview. which is pretty bad practice. I mean, who wants to go do a job interview and they already hired their guy and they're just giving it to you because they're obligated to? It wouldn't make me feel good. Not gonna lie, it wouldn't make me feel good. And so it was a sham of an interview, apparently. And if that's true, that's really bad practice, you know. And so back up a few years, he was interviewing again for the head coaching job out there in Denver, and you know that was back when they hired Vic Fangio, and so he thinks that was a farce as well. Except he actually got through the whole process, went through lengthy interviews, and then just didn't get hired. Um, And in his lawsuit that he's written here, Flores wants to see an increased influence of Black individuals in hiring, terminating GMs, head coaches, and coordinators, increasing the number of Black coordinators, incentivizing hiring retention of Black GMs, head coaches, and coordinators, and then transparency of pay for GMs, head coaches, and coordinators. And the lawsuit seeks unspecified damages from the NFL, which called the claims without merit Tuesday. And so, yeah, let's see here. I mean, it's while there are some things that could be improved, I definitely see some rooms for things that should probably be changed and amended here. The calling it racism is where I'm kind of lost on it, where I have to see it in order for it to be there. I can't just be racism. Like, it's all these things happen because of race. I don't necessarily believe that, to be true. I don't know about you, Chris, but I understand like they wanted to incentivize, oh, let's get some more Black coaches in the NFL. I think that's a good thing. But the way that they're going about it is turning into a total mockery when you're forcing them to give interviews to people that they don't want to hire, and then they just don't hire them, and then people get even more mad. So it's like, I don't know what they expect to happen. People want to win. They don't just want to go diversity through everything for no reason.
Yeah, and it like you said, it hurts more to get that interview and then find out. I mean, I can only imagine how Flores felt. You get the interview and then you're like, oh, I'm only getting interviewed because I'm Black. I'm not saying that it's racist because their intention is to just follow the rules. I don't think that's racist. I also would love to see more Black coaches in the NFL, more Black head coaches in the NFL. That's great. I mean, I believe what is it, 2 or 3 head coaches out of the 32 teams are Black out of the 32 teams, and then the majority of the players in the NFL are Black. So it's definitely a disparity. But again, I'm not calling that racism. I think that hiring somebody or giving an interview to somebody because of the color of their skin is racist. I think that's bad. I don't think that's something that should be done. So I don't necessarily agree with this Rooney rule that they have saying that they should give interviews based on race. I feel like it should be on their credentials alone, on their skill. And I think that especially in the coming years, since so many players and coaches, or so many players, let me say that, are Black and are African-American, I think some of the best coaches that we're probably going to see are going to be Black coaches coming up. Give it, some time, 15, 20 years. I'm sure we'll see a ton more Black coaches coming in. And I don't think we need rules like this to do so. I think it's just the NFL pandering, just like they do, end racism in the end zone. What they're doing, you could see it in the Super Bowl, because everybody knows that if you watch the Super Bowl, again, the NFL is majority Black players. You must be an evil racist Nazi, and we need to be told not to be racist by the end zone. Like, who would have looked at the end zone and said, God dang it, you're right, I'm not going to be racist anymore. I don't hate Black people. Like, that's crazy. Like, nobody's going to look at that and just change their mind. Like, I think the NFL is just straight up pandering. I think the role, and I could be wrong. Please, enlighten me. I feel like this rule isn't needed anymore. I think let's move on with it and allow teams to hire based on credentials and skill, and see where we lead, because I think it'll lead to more Black coaches in the future.
Yeah, I think there's currently one Black head coach in the NFL. That's Mike Tomlin. I do think the Houston Texans are close to hiring Lovie Smith. I'm not sure if that's official yet or if they've, got their guy. I think they might, so that might bring it to 2. But to my knowledge, I think there's only one. And there's some really good offensive coordinators and other coaches out there, that aren't hired just yet. And the season's still, postseason just started right now, like after the season's over. So now you have free agency, you have a lot of hiring happening, and then the draft process with the prospects. I do think that I think it might be worth looking into to find out if they actually told him to tank or not, because that's really bad.
Mhm.
If he actually had him tanking games, that is bad. Um, Coach Hugh Jackson used to be the coach of the Browns. He's alleged the same thing that the Browns were doing to him. And if that's the case for the Browns too, that's really bad. And there might be some serious repercussions there that might set the franchise back a few years, depending on what the penalty might be. You know, and they might lose
Yeah,
some draft picks in the future. Who knows what? But big fines might be in order.
yeah,
And what else there? I mean, we got. It's not necessarily looking like racism, but bad business practice too. I mean, I definitely think there should be something. I mean, you hire a guy and you already hired your coach. That's just bad practice already. I could see I think he should get money from a lawsuit if that's the case. I think he should get money for it. I think he's absolutely in the right. Seeking damages is kind of BS and kind of a joke. But again, racism gonna have to have a little bit more than that. It's gotta have to be a bit more than that. Bad business practice and just being a jerk rather than doing it because we don't want to hire the black guy. I mean, there's a big difference there.
Or I would say it's more like even if you're gonna call it racism, it'd be like forced racism by the NFL. They're just going by the rules, what they have to do, and hiring or interviewing somebody because of their race is wrong. So they were doing something wrong because the NFL is forcing them to do something wrong. I don't know if I'd consider it racism. It's bad. It's definitely not a good thing, and I think the NFL needs to loosen up on their woke stuff because it's not helping. It really is not helping. And the black community is not helping black head coaches, apparently. I mean, I think we are on 2 out of 32 because I Googled Lovie Smith is
Yeah.
he's the head coach of the Houston Texans. So that's 2 out of 32. So 1 out of every 16 head coaches in the NFL is a head coach. Or I'm sorry, is black. So not great odds.
No, not great. I mean, people are like, well, look at all the players, but there's no GMs and owners. I mean, that's a whole different part of the game. Those are big things. Those are
Yeah.
big things to account for here. That's a lot of money, a whole franchise in your back pocket. I mean, there's a lot of things to look after. I think there's good qualified candidates that are going to be coming through pretty soon here. And you got to ask yourself, why are these GMs going and hiring these people over those people? I mean, I don't really know if they really need to offer an explanation. Honestly, it's who they want to hire. They're trying to win. At the end of the day, they're trying to win. They're going to put the guy that gives them the best chance to win, with the best system, with the best people around them. That's going to make the best judgment, and they're going to put everything forward on that. So generally that's how it goes. And I don't think any franchise wants to waste a year on a diversity hire that they didn't want in the first place to go do who knows what. These things have long-term repercussions. You draft the whole team for 1 year, that could set you back for a while. I'm an Eagles fan. I've seen it happen. We've drafted terribly in years. I'm just like, all right, well, this is going to be a long time before we get this right. It's going to, you don't want to just throw it around. But no, I mean, it's absolutely brutal. But and another thing is, unfortunately, I think the NFL is just going to keep going further down the hole. They're not going to write this.
Yeah.
They're just going to keep going. I said, well, our justice measures have failed and people aren't doing it right, so they're just gonna go full steam ahead and just keep shoving it further and further down.
I wouldn't be surprised if they, had a time system or a timed limit to have a person of color randomly for your head coach. Like they're gonna pick 16 of the teams and say, okay, your head coach now in 5 years has to be a person of color. I wouldn't be surprised. They're gonna go down this woke rabbit hole, and it's not gonna help anybody anytime soon.
No, it's not going to help at all. Gosh, there's something I've been wanting to talk about, and I think we got enough time to get into it today. So let's
do it.
Let's give a look into 2022. How are we feeling about what's at stake here? Because in reality here, I think the Dems have caught on, and then they're at the point right now where it's like, oh, let's open everything up and try to take credit for everything that's come back, and then try to pull that with the House race in 2022, and then try to win. And I really don't think the American people are that dumb. I really have some faith in us here. I hope, I genuinely hope that we're not going to fall for this and just say, oh, wow, they opened everything back up and they really care about us and they really gonna. I really hope we don't go down the stupid hole like that. I think people should be fed up and upset what they've done to the children, what they've done to their churches, businesses, and how they've wrecked the economy and inflation's astronomically high. I'm pretty optimistic, but I'm also wary because we have terrible people running for office, which doesn't make it always good. What do you think?
I'm optimistic for the election. I think that we're going to take back the House. I think we're going to possibly take back the Senate. We'll see what happens. Personally, I think that what's at stake, neither side is really, or at least I don't think the right is fighting proactive enough to make a difference. I mean, the right is constantly on the defense saying that, you cannot do X, Y, and Z. We're going to stop you here. Well, we should have stopped them 30 years ago. We've already been past our line. They're pushing us back. We're on our backs against the wall now. The fact that they're mandating vaccines for healthcare workers, and look at what is happening all over the world with the COVID business, the vaccine mandates, the convoys taking place, police brutality, and on both sides. When I say that, people think I just mean like Black Lives Matter. No, on both sides. Look at what they're doing to the truckers now. They're arresting them in droves because Trudeau is saying so. So these are the things that we need to be standing up for, and I don't think the right is going to do that, which I think is a mistake. I think that even if we take back the House, nothing's going to happen. That's my call right there. Not going to do anything. We're going to get a bunch of spineless, do-nothing congressmen and women in, and some of them will tweet out about how bad Biden is, but what are they doing to stop him? Nothing. So 2022, a year where we're probably going to have a win and nothing will come of it, like all the time when the Republicans win. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not very optimistic.
I'm not too optimistic if Republicans all shell behind and say Kevin McCarthy is going to be the speaker when we win. That guy has done just about nothing. He's good for just about nothing. He doesn't want to win. He's not serious. He doesn't wield power. When we have the opportunity to pass good legislation, well, we can't do that. Here's some little tax cuts, and that's not going to cut it. That's not good enough. We demand better. We absolutely want accountability. We want the right people there. People that are going to put this country first and actually care about the people that are suffering every single day because of lackluster leadership and bad trade deals and just horrible economic policy all around. And we have people that aren't going to fight. Our southern border is rampantly running through right now with illegals and criminals, drugs, everything. Families aren't safe. It's not good. And we have Kevin McCarthy to look forward to in 2022. I'm not feeling too good about that. I think we need somebody else there. Big time. We need somebody else there. It's very disappointing to see, how these people have gone about most situations here. We have something really that could catch steam here with, the truckers going on in Canada, a shot to go do that here in the United States. And I'm not seeing too many congressmen and women, taking up steam on it or trying to, take action here. It's absolutely ridiculous.
We are the spineless party, and when I say we, I mean people on the right. I'm not a Republican. I don't call myself one because I like to think I have a spine, and I stand up for what I believe in. Not too many people on the right can, not too many Republicans can say that. Elected Republicans, let me say that. So us on the right, what are they doing? What are they going to do? Nothing. They're going to shill on Twitter and say how much they're fighting against Joe Biden, and then they sign a $2 trillion omnibus spending bill because it gives the troops a raise and gives them their pension. Great. Glad that we got them that, because now my grandkids are going to be standing in bread lines because we are in so much debt. They're also the war hawks talking about we need to defend Ukraine. We'll see what happens there. I mean, honestly, that invasion is supposed to happen in like 2 days, maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens. I'm hearing reports of like Tuesday, Wednesday, this week when Russia is supposed to get started out there. So 2022 is going to be a wild year. We'll see what happens. Might be drafted. I'm pulling a Muhammad Ali.
This is, the question of that, why do we want to go to Ukraine, and what exactly are we protecting here? For what? For who? And why? Why does it matter? This is a whole thing. We're gonna get drawn into this, and then China's coming in, and then we're just into a big old spat for no reason.
The military industrial complex needs their money, Christian. Don't you deny them of their money. They need it.
Them in the pharmaceutical industry can go stuff it. I'm fed up at this time. I could rant about big pharma and the military industrial complex all day. People don't understand like how crooked these deals are. They allow no competition in the market whatsoever. They produce their own goods and then they charge a premium price to the government to pay for it, which the government doesn't have money, by the way, folks. It's your money that they use. And they take that money, buy premium prices, and then you get footed with the bill and you wonder why taxes are going up, why everything sucks. That's why, folks, because they replace stuff that they don't need to replace every single year or even sooner with, oh, it's obsolete technology now. Let's just build another one for no reason. And they just line their pockets and get big off of that. Same thing with the pharmaceutical industry. They don't allow any other companies to go make other sort of vaccines or any sort of patents for this product or that product. They don't allow anybody else in, and they charge an astronomical number, and then the healthcare sucks. I'm sorry. That's how it is. And that's
Another
millions right now.
Another reason that it's costing so much, military and things like that, is that budgets are no longer allowed to like roll over. So let's say, your department in the military gets $100 million a year. If you don't spend that $100 million, they're going to reconsider giving you $100 million next year. You can't ask for more money if you don't spend the money they're giving you. So they're going to buy everything that they need. You're going to get a new couch every year. You're going to get these, like, they're going to spend that money. So it's wasteful spending. When certain conservatives on the right talk about we have to limit our budget, we have to limit our spending, and they talk about limiting the spending of the military. Others on the right want to call them, spineless, or that they're weak on the military, or they hate veterans. No, not at all. It's that we're not going to have a country if we have no money. We're not going to have a country if we have no economy. We're not going to be a country if we owe China $30 trillion in 5 years because we keep buying Humvees because that's what we need to do and back the military industrial complex. I don't understand. There's a division on the right. It needs to continue and break apart. And let's continue eyeing these people. I don't want to call them rhinos because I don't consider them Republicans in name only or whatever. Let's just say that there are conservatives who want the best thing for America, and then there's conservatives who want the best thing for their pockets. And there's plenty of them in Congress, and we're going to see who's who. And I'm hoping to see some of them drop out in 2022. Hopefully, get primaried and get knocked out.
Dan Crenshaw, we're looking at you, buddy.
Exactly. And he's only looking at us with that one eye, but we're looking at you with both.
That's right. 2 + 2 makes 4, Dan. You see them 4?
Yeah, that's 3 more eyes than he has.
We're coming, baby. We're coming. Right. No, not to mock.
I'm gonna get canceled like Pete Davidson did.
Oh, it's brutal. You know what? No. Dan sucks on policy, and he deserves to be ridiculed for the crap that he says. He mocks his voters. He mocked a 9-year-old girl and like got mean and angry and nasty at her. That's a 9-year-old kid. Don't question my faith. I'm like, dude, all right, like, calm it down here. You're talking to a little kid. Like, you're like the guy that goes to like a playplace and like shoves a kid out the way to go play on the arcade or something. Like, like it's never going to be a good look. You're never going to be in the right. You're never going to look fine doing whatever you're doing. It's not a good idea when you just mock your constituents and call everybody idiots. So yeah, it's not a good look. It's not
at all. And see what happens with Dan. I don't know if anybody's trying to primary him. I'm sure he'll win, but.
Yeah, unfortunately, the older generation really likes him a lot. I don't know why.
Well, they don't have much longer left, so
they surprise us every year, man. They surprise us every year.
They're like, "Oh, you're still here? You're still voting? Jesus,
that's
right. Joe Biden's still kicking, so
still coming back, man." Yeah, I ran into a candidate running for Congress this weekend, and she proposed something that was really interesting, that had some of my coworkers up in arms. I kind of agreed with it, and it was kind of a hot take. And she was saying people that don't have the full mental, that are fully like cognitive, that are living in assisted living homes, they can't take care of themselves, probably shouldn't be voting anymore. And I was like, that would make sense, especially given this last election with the percentage of nursing home voters that was like up to like 80-something% or whatever, which is like, all right, I don't know if I believe that number to be real in the first place, but also like these people can't like do anything and they're not really all there. Should they be voting? Like, I mean, that's legally, like, you can't make contracts if you're not in the right mental state of mind, if you don't have the capacity to do so, but you can go ahead and vote. That's a whole different thing. So I was thinking, I'm like, I think she might be onto something. Somebody else there like vehemently disagreed. It was like, how could you say that? There's people out here that are like, they came here fleeing communism and terrible things, and they're older and they love freedom, and they're like, they're on our side, they're going to vote, and et cetera, et cetera. But I also noted that those same people voted in terrible Republicans to Congress this last election. So I don't know how I feel about that either. They voted in some really, really bad people. So I'm like, it's not just saying old people. It's talking about people that are like cannot physically take care of themselves, that are in homes and don't have the mental capacity.
But I think there's a difference between being able to physically take care of yourself and being mentally there. So, Stephen Hawking couldn't, wipe his own butt.
No,
But
capacity here. Because we're talking about
okay,
mental capacity.
okay.
Yeah,
If we're talking mental capacity,
yeah,
then I get the point. I'd have to hear more about both sides, see more of the argument, but I could definitely see that being a thing. I mean, you can't vote until you're an adult, until you're cognitively able to make that decision to say, okay, well, I think I can, vote. I think I know who I want, and have some sort of mental ability to make that decision. So same thing as like if you're 80 years old and you can barely make a sentence and all you think about is ice cream all day, Joe Biden, then maybe you shouldn't be voting or running the free world. I think that is something that should definitely be considered. I'm all for having a mental capacity, or honestly, just an age limit on being in office. Like if you're above 65, you shouldn't be in public office. Get out of here.
No, man, that's even harder. I was saying like 70. You said 65. That's tough.
I go retire. Go enjoy time with your kids, you heathens. You don't need to be in DC for 45 years.
Yeah. Sources do say that the largest senior living care facility is located on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It's the most secure as well.
I've heard, man. Sources, I can't get banned. Sources told me this. Okay, sources.
I know we have fact checkers on our side too. YouTube, leave us alone.
That's right.
And Facebook too. I forgot we're on Facebook, but
thinking about, if you think about 70 years old cutting off, like, because they say mental decline happens around that time where you're like starting to like decline. Like, why do you want people that are mentally declining to go ahead and pass policy that's not really going to affect them because they're not going to be here for that much longer on the younger generations that are going to have to, foot the bill for everything that's happening right now?
Which is what I agree. Like I'm more for an age limit than I am for term limits because I don't necessarily agree with term limits. I think that if somebody wants to serve, like I believe Madison Cawthorn brought term limits up recently in a bill, and it was like 3 terms. No, it was 2 terms in the Senate and 4 terms in the House, something like that. And I don't think that's nearly enough. Who's the only people who are going to be left in DC are the staffers and the lobbyists. Those are the people who know what's going on. Everyone else is the people with power are going to be the ones now being led by lobbyists and their staffers. And by their staffers, I mean the representative staffers. But and they're not elected. Lobbyists aren't elected. Staffers aren't elected. They're going to be the ones that are running DC. So I'm not for term limits. I'm more for, okay, if you're 65 or 70 years old, probably not fit to be here anymore, probably not mentally there anymore. And also, none of your policies will affect anyone or affect yourself. They're going to affect everyone else. So you can probably get out of here. That's what I'm more for. And I think more people on the right should be pushing things like that. But maybe they wouldn't because a lot of them are 70 years old.
Some old people out there, man.
There are.
I'm not the biggest fan. There's some good people out there, man, that I do enjoy, but I think change is needed.
There are good people of all ages, but you meet people when you're out here talking politics. You meet people.
There's at this conference I was at this weekend, there's some things I'm like, all right. They're saying, older people. I was mostly old people. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Some things I'm like, like that's just a little like a little archaic. Like I'm like it's a little like let's keep it moving here. Like we gotta get on point. They aren't quite there. I'm gonna transition here into again Black History Month. It's my history month, people. It's my history month. It's a good time. Oh,
Exactly.
I,
Wonderful month. Wonderful month.
it's the shortest month of the year, and it just happens to be ours. So how great is that? You know,
Mm-mm.
can you give us a longer one? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't create it. I didn't give it to us. But looking at Black History Month this year, this seems to be one of the more emotionally charged ones, that I've seen in a while. Just continuing the trend to equate social justice and every other issue that doesn't even have to do with Black people to Black History Month. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going to continue equating Black History Month and Black, whatever they want to call it, Black excellence. They want to call it the Black struggle. They're going to equate it to everything from being gay to being transgender to being what do they call when you're disabled? It's is it just disabled? Because I know they call people who able-bodied. So are you disabled-bodied? I don't know. I don't know my PC terms, guys. I didn't study up on this, but they are going to equate every struggle to the Black struggle because that's the struggle that if you don't agree with, you're racist and you're bad. So they're going to continue doing that. And I mean, there's plenty of people in the Black community are not okay with that and not for that.
One thing that just irritates me is that everything that happened to do with Black history, they always use the Pan-African fist. And the fist already is already a symbol of like Marxism, communism is bad enough. But then the Pan-African, I'm like, man, we're in America here. This is an American holiday. Use the freaking American flag. What are we doing? Use the Pan-African stuff. Like, I'm not from Africa. I'm not African. I don't claim it. Never been there. Probably never will be there. And I honestly could not care less about it. Don't really care much about Africa. This is the same reason.
You ain't trying to go back to Africa, man. Go see what's all over there.
I'm good.
I'm not going either. I mean,
I'm good. I'm gonna be honest with
you. The mosquitoes, man. They got malaria. I ain't about it. They got lions.
Life's pretty good here in Miami. They got beaches. And
they got malaria?
I don't know about that. I mean, we got a lot of stuff here. I don't think we got malaria. I think we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, well, I'll stay in Detroit. We got malaria, I think. So I'll stay here.
Does Detroit have a mayor?
Yeah, it's Duggan, I believe.
Is it a man or a woman?
Oh, it's a woman.
Does she ever show her face?
Oh no, I said woman. I'm sorry, it's a man.
That's a dude. Does he ever show his face?
Yeah, he's like an old white guy. He used to be Kwame, and then Trump freed him. Dang Trump.
Okay.
No one was supportive of that.
Oh, that's right. He did pardon that. What was that all about? Like what?
I don't know why Trump did it, man. Kwame screwed over Detroit. He was a bad person. And then everyone's partying like free Kwame. I was like, why? He did bad things. He spent our tax dollars on hookers and stuff. And rental cars and joy raced and did all that stuff. He had a mistress that he paid $1 million salary or something like that. And there are too many people who are like, yeah, Kwame. Didn't get them to vote for Trump. And he was black, so I mean, hey, there you go.
It's our history month. Gotta support. Gotta
support. That's true. Kwame, you get a pass. You're pardoned. Trump did it. Trump did it last year, right before Black History Month. You know what? Trump knew what he was doing. 4D chess right there.
Yeah. Have you been looking into a little bit of the Kanye West and the Kim K stuff going on? A little bit of their drama.
I've been watching it. And honestly, I don't think Kanye's too far in the wrong. Don't want your kids to be on social media. What's wrong with that? Not saying he's sane or anything, but I don't think he's that wrong. It's kind of crazy.
I don't think it's that wrong to say you don't want your 8-year-old daughter on a platform that just grooms children to go do bad things and just ruins their innocence. I think he's in the right there. But he's overall just going off on every platform, on Kim and on Pete Davidson, every single platform, on TikTok, on Instagram, just.
Yeah, and Kid Cudi, and Kid Cudi wanted to slap back and say that he was he didn't want to be on Donda 2, and it's bro, Kid Cudi, your last album was trash. You can't talk his last.
And he wears dresses, man. I don't want to hear nothing from dudes in dresses all the time, man. I really don't want to hear much from you. I don't care if that makes me a phobic of whatever. I don't want to see dudes in dresses. I said it.
Sorry, Kid Cudi, man, you out of here. Kanye though, based, and he's airing it, man. He said something. I didn't know Pete Davidson had a Hillary Clinton tattoo. I saw that. That's interesting. I think he's funny. I saw his comedy special. Thought Pete Davidson was a funny guy. Apparently, he did This is something that Kanye posted on Instagram. I don't know if you saw. He posted that Pete Davidson had sent a explicit pictures and videos of him and Ariana Grande to Mac Miller, and that led to Mac Miller, doing whatever. And that's what it seemed like he was insinuating, and I didn't know about that. And I was like, if that's true, it's kind of a bad thing to do.
He's kind of a bad guy, if that's the case.
And it's allegedly, guys. I don't know. I'm not claiming he did nothing or anything or whatever, but it's just interesting. I'm rooting for Kanye though. Coming down to two.
Yeah. I looked at there. He's coming to Miami next Tuesday, and I got priority access to tickets. And I was like, oh, that would be cool. And everything's like $180 or more. And I'm like, nah. I'm just like, I was like, it sounded cool, and I'm like nah.
To see Kanye?
Yeah, his
a concert?
His sounded too. Yeah.
Oh man, I would have went $180. That's not bad.
Like after fees and everything else, and somebody else has to go. It's like going to be over $400.
But for Kanye,
I mean, it's cool. I want to see him one day, but I don't know. Like, I support the guy and everything, but all of his stuff is always so expensive. Like, no matter what, it's all so expensive.
It's because he's popular, He'd just be hitting, man. Like, he'd be selling it. He can sell at that price. So it's like, more power to you, I guess.
Oh, it's gonna be. I mean, it's until that divorce is finalized, settled. Who knows whatever goes on? I mean, it's you married a Kardashian, okay? You married a Kardashian.
Yeah. And I don't know, why is he fighting so hard for Kim? Like I don't know. Like, maybe I guess he's really in love. I think
he genuinely did. Yeah, I mean, like they had children together and started a family.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I'm not a Kim Kardashian fan.
No, that's fine. But my thing is, I think families should stay together for the most part, unless something really, really like just divorcing for who knows freaking what reason. Like you knew who Kanye West is. You know who he is, and you married him, and you had children with him. Now it's too much. Now it's too much. Like, come on.
This is her third marriage, isn't it? Like, is it? I thought so. She was married to the basketball player, right? For a minute. Was it Blake Griffin? She was married to for a minute.
Really?
She made him. Hold on, we gotta Google it.
There's a few Kardashians that were married to Tristan Thompson and some other ones, but
a couple of them.
I mean, there's a few of them, but
wait. Hold on. Yeah, Kim Kardashian. Weren't they married?
She married Blake Griffin.
Wait, hold on. Let's see. Kim Kardashian. Who is she married to? So she was married to Chris Humphries, I'm sorry, and Damon Thomas.
Yeah, no.
One of them was married to Blake Griffin, though. One of them.
Really? I think of Tristan Thompson with what's her name, but
I'm pretty sure. Blake Griffin.
Oh gosh. No, but I mean it's one of those things where I'm just like, who Kanye West is. Oh, he's crazy. Yeah, it's Kanye freaking West. Like, we're aware of who he is. And now all of a sudden you can't deal with it anymore. Like after he had all these kids and all these things, because he wants to live more of a traditional life. He doesn't want his kids getting sexually explicit at a young age. And he wants his wife to put clothes on. I mean, I don't know what else there. And yeah, sure, there's more to it. I'm sure there is. Okay, I'm not saying I know everything here, but come on, y'all.
I think it was Kourtney Kardashian. I got that from one of our viewers. I'm pretty sure it was Kourtney Kardashian was married to Blake Griffin. So,
one of the other ones. Yeah, it's kind of it's bummed to see, because like we look up to these celebrities and media people all the time, because like that's part of the culture, and like we see nothing but failed marriages and love, and we're just like, yeah, now it's gonna be us, man. I'm gonna get my third husband, my third wife, whatever it is, and just keep it moving. But excuse me, 1 second here. And so, and when we look at that, like that's reality, and reality is like, no, these people's lives are like all broadcasted, and they look at social media and they have all these bad images, and they probably, don't live a healthy lifestyle where they're just doing it all the time. And it's like, yeah, why would you think that it would succeed? Like, it's destined to fail here. like based on everything they're doing. I mean, it's not like, oh, every Kardashian's gonna suck. Well, until every Kardashian, gets their crap together and just starts giving up all the, not just the lavish lifestyle, but just the superficial garbage that means nothing, and buys into actually, like, having the family and raising them right and taking care of all the nonsense, then I think, yeah, these things aren't going to turn out well. I generally
Yeah.
thought him and Kanye were going to work out after a while. I was like, man, this guy found God, like, she's supportive of it, et cetera, et cetera. But she didn't seem to be on the same page. And,
Yeah, I wish the best for the kids. Kanye had them at the Super Bowl yesterday. I don't know if you saw that. Odell gave what's the kid's name? Northwest?
North, and in the other one, I forgot the other one's name.
St. Louis or something, whatever her name is. Or his name. I actually don't know if it's a boy or a girl. You see, I don't keep up with the Kardashians, just Kanye. And he seemed like they were having a good time, and they seemed like they were enjoying themselves. And I wish the best for the kids and Kanye and even Kim, and I hope everyone's happy in the end. But I think that this is one where they might be better off without one another because, yeah, she moved on kind of quick too. Like,
that's the thing, and that's like, straight up a marriage, and you had children, this, that, and you slide to Pete that quick. And I can understand why Kanye's upset for that. It's just like, what the heck?
And then Pete was like, I hope that I can meet the kids and we can all be friends. Kanye's like, you'll never meet my
kids. It's like, oh man.
It's funny. Like, I hope they keep it civil. It goes well and everyone's happy at the end of the day, but probably not going to happen. It's Hollywood.
Yeah, probably not. So I've seen this, like, this number polling about how politically diverse Gen Z is, and it's kind of what I think it is, but I feel like it could be more swayed. But I mean, there's people that think that Gen Z is going to be our most conservative generation ever, but in reality, I think it's just a bunch of blue-haired libs that don't even know what bathroom to use. So I'm not buying the hype. I really think it's looking bad right now. I don't generally believe that it's like, oh, the most conservative, like, I'm not buying it. There's this polling here that says 38% identify as liberal, 18% say they're conservative, and 27% say they're moderate. Out of these people that polled, which is also, these numbers don't add up to 100%, which is weird. I don't know where they got this from. Pew Research. Okay.
What were the numbers again? Say it one more time.
38% say they're liberal, 18% say they're conservative, and 27% say they're moderate. That's not 100%. I don't know what the heck type of polling is.
18% conservative. I mean, like, that is not even. I mean, what? That's 1 in 5.
It's less than 1 in 5. Less than 1 in 5. And
so it's not even that. Like, that's not. How are we the most conservative generation ever?
I mean, that's just the baby boomers spew. They believe us to be like or just the right wing talking heads on Instagram that are just trying to spew blind faith out to us. I think the reality is there's a bunch of people out here that just want to do bad things and don't realize that they're self-destructing all the time and don't really care. I feel bad about it, but it's just in general things, like, just, I don't care. Just
it could also be by comparison. I mean, if you think about, like, what liberal is these days, like, liberal is blue hair, 45 genders. I wear a dog collar to school. So it's
moderates
like,
are still liberals too. Moderates are still liberals too. That's the thing. The moderates still lib. Like, these are still, all those people want to fit in and not get canceled, is what it looks like to me. Like, everybody,
conservatives
getting canceled.
If you identify as a conservative, you're like, okay, like, I just, like, that's kind of weird, and I'm not about that life. Like, those are the outlier where, like, honestly, there could be people who consider themselves liberal who are like, I think that's weird too. I just really don't know what's going on. Like, I'm not a conservative. I'm not rich. I'm not old. I'm, that kind of thing. So I don't think that giving surveys to, I don't know the age range.
I don't know how accurate that thing is or who they really polled, because I didn't get polled. You didn't get polled. Who knows who got polled? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But, like, also, it's like, I've seen people on Instagram that are current ambassadors for certain organizations. I'm not going to name names here. You might be pretty familiar with them, but that have pronouns in their bio and that claim to be really big time conservatives. I'm like, hey, how can you be conservative, have pronouns in your bio when you're playing right into the libs' hands here? Like, when you're doing the same exact crap that all of them do. Like, that's just nonsensical. So if that's the age of conservative, that means conservative. Then I think we have a lot less conservatives than there are really in those numbers. I think the number might be even smaller. You know.
Yeah, I when people say we're the most conservative generation ever, I'm like, I don't believe that. Especially with what we do. We meet young people, we talk to young people, and I think most people are just, I would say like probably like the largest group, maybe like 35-40% of people are just like politically like I have opinions, but I'm not an activist. I don't want to share my opinions. I'll go vote. Just leave me alone. Like, I think that's the biggest group is people who are just, I'm not here to worship Biden or Trump, or I'm not here on either side of things, which I don't think is a terrible viewpoint. I do think people need to get involved, obviously, and,
Yeah,
have their
but I think
opinion
they
out
do
there.
that more. They're more fear of being accepted and not being canceled is why they do that. Not because like, oh, I just think it's private. No, it's because they're afraid of
I
what's
think
going.
that there's definitely a block of them who probably think that. I think that there are others who are like this. Like there are probably others who are. You got to think like the generation. It's like you're in college, grad school, that kind of thing. They're probably like, I'm just trying to be an engineer. I don't care about politics. Like they're probably busy about other things. And I'm not saying that's all of the politically apathetic Gen Zers or anything like that, but probably a good chunk of them are just, I don't care about politics. Which every generation has that group. They still vote though, which sucks.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that we see so many apathetic people, and I'm like, you better get more like sympathetic with this stuff because this is affecting you right now. And when you have to answer later on is why everything costs so dang much and why your rights and everything's being stripped away. And it was because you didn't care enough because I'm just gonna go be an engineer. I'm just gonna go play video games, sit on my butt all day. Yeah. What did you expect? You just let life pass you by and just not take part in anything. It's what's
Yeah.
going to happen. So yeah, I think people got to start speaking out more. Start just having more conversations with people. Dear Lord, just having conversations with people.
Exactly.
Like
Talk.
figuring things out. The Joe Rogan experience is cool because he literally just takes in so much information on a daily basis with people he talks to. Brings in from everywhere, just about everything, and just asks some questions. Starts picking out people's brains and seeing what's really going on in their
And
head. That stuff's cool. Like it's
it is
really
cool. And they're interesting conversations, It's stuff that people are interested in, whether it's aliens or politics or mushrooms or whatever. It's like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Like that's pretty cool and people can get behind it.
talking about Russian blood doping and steroids in the Olympics. And it's really interesting that actually right now, I tweeted this out today. This is really, really interesting. Is that apparently, I gotta go pull up the tweet here. A Russian athlete failed a drug test at the Olympics and she's still allowed to compete.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it, like steroids?
Yeah. So she failed a drug test. All right. So, yeah. So this happened. The Court of Arbitration for Sports decision allowed Kamila Valieva to continue competing at the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics after failing a drug test. And people are saying it's a slap in the face to athletes doing it the right way. And Sha'Carri Richardson, remember Sha'Carri Richardson?
Yeah, I think
This
so.
friend from LSU that after her mom died, she smoked a
Yeah.
little bit of reefer and then got banned, and couldn't go to the Olympics,
Yeah.
couldn't go to the trials, got absolutely hosed, you know. So she's 15. Oh, also this athlete is 15 years old, by the way, failed a drug test at 15 years old. That's not good. That's really bad.
That is bad.
Man, I would read more of this article here, but you have to pay for it. Do better, USA Today. Do better for it. Very disappointing. But Sha'Carri Richardson says, can we get a solid answer on the differences of her situation and mine? My mom died and I can't run. I was also favored to place top 3. The only difference I see is that I'm a black young lady. And of course, she invoked the race card here. It's her history month. Why not? We're here. Your history month.
If you're gonna use it, you might as well.
Go ahead and use it. But my thing is, it's not, and this is where she's getting it wrong. There is a clear, reason why, and it's not her skin color. It might be the country she's in, and it might be the country that the other girl's in, because the IOC bows down to Russia in just about everything. Russia blood dopes, gets caught red-handed, is supposed to be banned from all future Olympics for who knows how many years, yet the IOC allows athletes to compete under the Russian World Federation, the RWF, where they don't get to fly under the flag, but they still get to compete and do all these things when they shouldn't have been allowed, period. It's the biggest joke ever. The IOC caved. They continue to cave all the time to Russia. I think they're getting paid. I think they're paid off. That's my thoughts here. My thoughts personally. I think they're getting paid off. I think it's just as corrupt as FIFA paying off officials to throw games and do all these crazy things. And it's clear. It's clear. This is they're hosting the Olympics in Beijing. How are you guys surprised that they're doing shady things? They're hosting it in freaking China. It's just a straight wasteland of crap out there.
With the nuclear
here. So yeah, are you surprised? Oh, they let somebody who failed a drug test compete? What is that? Is that the craziest thing that's ever happened to you? That you thought there's 2 million Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps in that country that you're supporting by watching the Olympics, but you think it's crazy that they're letting someone who failed a drug test compete? I think there's crazier things out there, folks. I really do.
The Olympics aren't legitimate anymore. Screw the Olympics. I won't watch it. I don't really care what happens in the Olympics. You want to be a great athlete? I don't know. Play a sport. I don't count the Olympics as like being like, okay, well, everyone should honor the Olympics and love the Olympics. They do what gives them the most money, and that's China.
It was sacred. It was sacred at one point. The Olympics date back to the beginning, like the Roman and Greeks and everybody back to the Greek, like all the way back. The first sport ever was wrestling. Okay, folks, so that you know this, it was wrestling. It was the first sport ever in the Olympics. People would wrestle. It brought pride to countries. It's a great means of diplomacy. Instilling pride in your nation, of your people, to show off what they can do. It's an awesome thing to behold. And now it's turned into a literal joke because we let people that break the rules deliberately break the rules, do whatever they want without fear of being, in trouble for it, and we just let it all slide, and we let countries that commit mass atrocities go ahead and host without any addressing of those concerns either. We just let it all happen. It's an absolute joke, and that's why it's a shame, because this is all wrestlers have. I'm a wrestler. This is all that we have, is going to the Olympics, making the most of what we've got, and that's our final stage here. And it's turned into a complete mockery. We wrestle a bunch of juiced up juice heads from over in the Soviet Union that are doing it state-sponsored, by the way, not just on their state-sponsored doping. Okay, the Russian government literally funded those labs to pump them full of juice to go out and compete the best that they could. If you don't believe me, look up Icarus, the documentary on Netflix. Watch it; it's going to blow your mind. They absolutely have been doing this since the '60s. The only people they don't pump are figure skaters, some figure skaters. Okay, because they don't want them too big and bulky. But you have to look into it. It's a mockery of everything that we hold near and dear. The integrity of everything is totally shot on a global scale because of crappy politics. And until this thing gets better, who knows what, on the IOC just gets some cojones and decides that enough is enough, it's gonna be like this for a long freaking time.
I don't see it changing anytime soon. So probably what it's gonna be like.
Final thoughts. I think you guys should definitely watch the Icarus documentary. 100%. Check it out. Let me know what you think. It's worth watching. After I watched the Joe Rogan episode with Brian Fogel, like a director of the documentary that's on Netflix, and he explains like everything that was going on, like it's worth watching. It's really, if you're not familiar, if you're not that into the Olympics or that into the sports, and you looked at, like, it's going to catch your interest like right off the bat. Very, very fascinating. Highly recommend it. It's one of the biggest discoveries like in a long time, that it uncovers so much corruption within the Russian and Soviet Union. Like it's absolutely crazy. So definitely go and check that out.
Final thoughts for the day. You know what? That's a good question, honestly. I mean, it's been kind of it was an entertaining week. Enjoy the week, guys. Let's politics is everywhere these days. So let's just enjoy that we just had a good Super Bowl and a good halftime show, and leave it at that. And hopefully we'll have a good week. Good Valentine's Day. It's a holiday. And then we'll come back to politics and be angry at one another again. Let's all pat each other on the back. Say we did good this weekend. Matt Stafford won a ring. I think we all can be happy. Maybe I'm just happy about that. I don't know. But just all pat ourselves on the back. The Detroit Rams made it to the Super Bowl. It was a good weekend.
Detroit Rams made it to the Super Bowl. Yes, they did. You take pride in that, Chris. One more thing before we go. I gotta share this one time for the one time. Man. Here we go. My man Chris got absolutely flamed on Twitter. Absolutely flamed. Man, but Chris, man, you've been getting posted like 2-3 times a week. Sometimes it looks like, man, you're getting all the photos up there.
I'm just the Turning Point's new mascot, I guess.
Dude, you're in there, man. And so, man, you're just like putting the thumbs down on Fauci. It's not science, it's socialism. Like, yeah, this guy under there is just like, dude, another white neckbeard thirsty for clicks, like ladies. Like, dang.
And then look, I looked at his page too. I was gonna reply. I'm pretty sure it's a bot. Like he's never tweeted anything that wasn't like political or himself. Like, do people just not tweet about like how their day is going? Like everything he tweets is just terrible.
Man, he did that to you on Black History Month. It's like
I know, right?
That's like the
right?
maximum disrespect, man.
I should tweet at him and be like, dang, on Black History Month too. Crazy.
And on Black History Month, like disrespectful. I wouldn't let it go. I had to hop in there, man. I was like, yo, this is ridiculous. Like, go to the quote tweet here. I won't even show my quote tweet. I'm just like, man, this guy's not white. Like, what the?
You know, I'm gonna have to.
You a neckbeard, bro. He called you a neckbeard, like a neckbeard libertarian, right there, man. It's pretty messed up.
Dang, I might have to tweet back at him now. This dude wants to give me issues. We'll see what happens.
Like, I want to
see what happens.
Give it to him. That's right.
I want all the smoke. I'm now on Twitter. You know, I want all the smoke.
Well, where can people find you on Twitter, Chris? The people that don't know here.
That's a good question. It's political C Mr. G. It's political CMRG. Follow me on Twitter for some base libertarian viewpoints.
For those of you that want to see it right there, it's at political C Mr. G. Give Chris a follow there, and his neckbeard and whiteness apparently.
Exactly. Follow your favorite white neckbeard here. Political C Mr. G.
That's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed pretty good. I'm like, oh, roasted.
I was like, dang, man, like even he didn't know what was going on. The bots don't even know what race is anymore.
No, they don't, man. Racist bots. Like, that's where we're at in America now, guys.
I know, right? On Black History Month, too. It's crazy.
On my History Month. How dare you? Well, folks, it's been another episode of Black Friday. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all next time. Have a great week. Happy Valentine's Day.
Peace.
Happy Valentine's Day, Mom. Bye.